You know, when you've lost someone in life, people will come and say, just move on and forget about what has happened. But when that person is very important, it's very difficult to move on. Somebody said you should move forward because you carry this person with you in the memory of your life. Today we are discussing a very important topic in our show, Painful Goodbyes. My name is Kumbuzo Dube, and our topic for today is saying goodbye to a very precious child. And to help us in this show, we have the Munyakas, and I just want to welcome them to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So who are you? Who are you? Who are the Munyakas?
All right.
I'm Fungai Munyaka. I'm a teacher by profession, and I'm a mother of 3 girls.
Okay. All right. A mother of 3 girls. Okay.
Yeah. I'm Elasmus Munyaka. I'm an electrician. I'm studying supply chain management at the moment. I'm a father of 3 girls, as she has just mentioned, of which one of the 3 girls is no longer with us. We lost her some time. So basically that's who am I, 40 years of age now, and baptized member of Mahashula West Church. Yeah, basically that's probably what you would want to know about me. I'm also in a family, born in a family of 7 and being the last born.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Beautiful. I'm interested in knowing whether she's the last born as well.
No, I'm not the last born, but I'm the last. When it comes to girls, I'm the last girl in my family.
Okay, so this is a family of last ones.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. It's nice to know about you. So growing up, what was your ideal about a family, and maybe talking about children? You spoke about your 3 children. What was your ideal?
Okay. Our ideal family was probably to, number 1 is to be happy. And number 2, when you engage and you have joined, you are twined. The ideal thing is God should bless you with children, right? And when God blesses you with children, you see them grow. And you would want to be part of their dream. You would want to share the pains, the ups and downs with those children, and probably see them, those children, being a blessing above all, into the community, into the church. Yes. So that was the ideal situation, which we, as a couple, we were looking forward. Right, and probably I can say we're still looking forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. So I think this one belongs to Mom. Tell us about your children.
My 3 girls, they are gifted differently. The first one is a bit quiet and reserved.
Okay.
And the second one, the late, she was outgoing. And she was someone who is jovial. She is not that type of a child who, when you get to a place, could be stable. She was that type of a child that wants to maneuver and know a lot of things. And the third one, I think, it's like she resembles the late one.
The late one.
She's too talkative, very clever. I don't know, she's just an extraordinary one.
Okay. No, that's beautiful, and I think your children must be a very precious gift to you. And thank you for sharing your story with us. And as we come after the break, we are going to listen to the sad part of this story, because they've shared with us that they have 3 children and 1 passed away. Don't go away. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to the show, Painful Goodbyes. As we parted, we spoke about the 3 children that belong to the Munyakas. I didn't hear the names. What are the names?
Okay. The first child, our firstborn is Leandra Munyaka, and our late children, which is a daughter again, is Kimberly Munyaka. And the last born is Prudence Nyasha Munyaka. Yes. And this name Nyasha, which is between, means grace.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Oh, so we actually feel that we are so loved.
Okay.
The Lord is very gracious on us. That's why we actually gave him that second name, Nyasha, because look, after having lost a child, and God still gives you another one. So to us, it was actually a portion of grace from up above. Yes.
Yep.
That's why I've got that name.
Thank you. It's a lovely name, Nyasha. It means actually, like you said, it means grace.
Yeah.
And as I'm thinking about what you've just shared, that God gave you another child. Maybe we may need to know what really happened. Maybe you can share the story. What exactly happened? I know it's a very difficult place to go, but maybe let's take it and maybe look at what happened.
Okay. We're at camp meeting, Queen's camp meeting, where we do camp for our district. Then it was on Friday. Usually on Friday, people knock off a bit earlier so that they go and prepare for the Sabbath. Just like everyone else, I went and prepared for the Sabbath. Then after that, kids, they'll be playing around, so they need a bath before they go for the evening service. So I just boiled my water. Then I was using a gas stove. Then after boiling my water, I removed the pot from the gas. Then I put it down where there were stones because we're in a tent. Then as I was in the tent, I heard someone was calling me from the other side of the tent. So as someone was calling me from the other side of the tent, I didn't realize that my child get inside the tent. Then as I was attending to that person through the tent's window, there's, I don't know what happened. I just found my child down there and the water was all over.
Hey.
I think that's all that I can remember now.
So that's what basically happened. So she got burnt. The water was all over. Since the water was boiling, I think
the water was already down. It wasn't on the stove.
It was.
I had put it down because I was done boiling the water. In fact, I was waiting to just call her and let her take a bath. So I didn't realize that the sisters had left here so that they would be playing by the road as she would come to me.
So then after that, what then happened?
I just picked my child. Then I went out of the tent. I screamed. I cried, holding my child. Then everyone was in their tents. They came trying to help, and the father wasn't there. We had to call the father, and when you are at the camp meeting, some of the phones will be switched, will be off. There's no electricity and stuff. We had to ask for another church member to call the father. And one of our church members offered a lift. And fortunately, and I say fortunate, we had a nurse close by who was camping from our church. And she's the one who assisted us. We also have got my sister-in-law. She was also there. They assisted. And that's how we left the campsite for hospital.
For the hospital.
Yeah.
So then you met him.
Yes. I was given, I actually received a call. And when I received the call, I was told the child is bent. But I could hear her screaming from behind. She was actually crying. And the first thing that came to my mind was...
that was Kimberly crying.
Yeah, Kimberly crying. Not Kimberly, her.
Hey, your wife.
Yes. And the first thing that came to my mind was, yes, these guys have told me about the child being bent. I'm sure they're just trying to console me. Something really more than bends has happened. Probably something really serious has happened that they cannot just share. So quickly I was at work. And to tell you the truth, I'd prepared everything to actually join them for the Sabbath. And all I did was I communicated with the guys that were at the camp. They said, no, because I wanted to drive to the campsite.
Yes.
And they said, no, it will be too late for you to actually come to the campsite. What you can just rush home, get all your documents, your cards, hospital cards, so that we meet at the hospital, below hospital. And then I did so. On my way, another call from one of our elders, one of our respected elders at church. He calls me again. And he said, Munyaka, just try to cool down. This is just, they're bends. And she's a child and she's still very young. They'll heal and she'll be okay again. That again ringed another bell. Why this emphasis? You know, I'm human. But I proceeded, took her documents, everything. I dashed to the hospital, and I was at the hospital first, I think. Yes, I was at the hospital first, and then they came. They'd actually removed the clothes, and she had bandaged all over from the limbs here up to the chest. Yeah, so she had bandages, and when she saw me, she cried. She came to me. I picked her. She looked okay, you know, from face value, she looked okay. But then when the nurses and the specialists went through their processes, they did everything that they could do, and the result was she's bent. She was 75%. I don't know what that means, but to me it was those were excessive bends, right? And we did the processes so that she will be admitted, and she was admitted. That was the first day, and you know when you admitted, she was only a year and 10 months. Is that a year and 10 months? But now she was all that we could now start communicating. She would say daddy and stuff like that, and we had that bond. And then obviously when she's admitted, she had to sleep at the hospital from that day, and we pushed through. We got some medications, we got some prescriptions to buy medication for her so that she can be attended to. Some medications were provided at the hospital. But one thing that was always a problem was the temperature.
It was high.
Temperatures will always skyrocket. And one very difficult moment was when they would be bathing her. They would remove the bandages, they would put salt, and you could see her screaming, you know, to the last limit. But as a father, you could only watch. There's nothing that you could do. Yeah. And one day, I really remember, it was around 12. She phones me at the hospital. She tells me, Kimberly is she's having difficulties in breathing. I quickly dashed to the hospital, and I found they'd actually removed her from the ward and to a certain corridor where oxygen was accessible. Yes, and she was already in oxygen, and we prayed about it. The situation normalized. They put her back on the ward. As days passed on, she started now scratching your body, and you could see some parts of the wounds were healing. Right, physically you could see them; they were starting to heal. And each time she would scratch, we were thinking it's part of the healing process, where she's actually feeling the itches, and the nurses would encourage for her not to do that. But look, she was just a child; she could not handle probably those itches. Yeah, and then I'm sure a day or 2 days before, passing on. Another call again during the night. Kimberly again, she's having difficulties and breathing. And I would dash there, the hospital. And when we went there, we actually had to seek, I'm sure one of the best, they call him the best pediatrician, to come and attend to the child. He did what he could, and the only thing that they mentioned was she needed more blood to be added. And soon after we authorized that, we okayed it and said, no, it's okay. Let's be given the blood. But there were some challenges probably in doing so, where they could hardly get the veins. Yeah,
because of the burns, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes at one moment they had to get the vein from her head, and when they did so, within no time the head actually swollen, and they had to try to use the legs so that they can try and it was really a hassle. And that process took a bit of time. Or we are looking at a situation where you are told, they call him the anesthetics, something like that. That's the name. But what I remember very well is when all that was done, they finally managed to put the blood, to add the blood. But since then, she started, their bodies just started getting swollen. And a day before, we were told to go and have some tests, the liver and the heart, the kidneys, which we did. Fortunately or unfortunately, on the day when I was supposed to actually get the results, there was no power in the city, at the place where I had done those samples anyway. But I had to wait, and they had actually moved here from that ordinary ward to the intensive care ward. Okay. Yes. So she calls me. And she is telling me they've actually removed me from the ward. Remember, she would sleep with her in that intensive care unit. So thereafter, when I just cooled her down and said, no, it's all right. It will be all right. Kimberly will be fine. And then the electricity resumed, and I managed to get the results. And after having received the results, I dashed back to the hospital, only to, fortunate or unfortunate, the moment I just stepped on the intensive care unit, they quickly closed the door on me. And then I sensed something is wrong. And I told her, no, I have brought the results. And the other medication that you had actually prescribed that I must buy, yes. And then they simply closed me out. What they could only do is to get the documents and the medication. And they spent about 30 minutes in there. You could see inrush of doctors changing in and just going in there. And the only thing that I could do was to pray that moment, because I could see the intensity of doctors going in and out. It just showed me there's something wrong. But believe me, I still believed that the Lord is in control. And then 45 minutes, I'm sure after, we are invited to, we were summoned by an old lady. And that's when she actually broke the news to us to say, what did you expect? That was the question. What did you expect? Since you have seen, she was there for how many? 17 or 11 days?
10 days.
10 days. What did you expect from your child after you having noticed what she was going through? And I told them I expect life. On my children, I expect her to recover from the burns. But then that's when they broke the message and said, unfortunately, Kimberly could not make it. Yes. And it was a very difficult moment. Yeah, I could not stop my tears. Yeah. Basically, that's what happened. Yes.
That was very hard after camp meeting and praying and those 10 days of waiting. Yeah. It must have been a very difficult time. And so after the break, we are going to look at how they managed to process this thing. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching the show, Painful Goodbyes, and we heard the terrible loss that happened at camp meeting. And now I'm wondering how you were prepared for this loss.
As we all know, no one can prepare for death. It's just a calm. After all, it was an accident. We couldn't expect that because the child was okay. We prepared for the camp meeting, and I was so happy and excited that she will at least attend camp meeting. And during the course of the week, I was going with her to the children's arena, and she was enjoying the puppets and stuff like any other kid. Nothing came into our mind. We didn't even dream of falling sick or even losing her. We're really shocked. And sometimes you think, maybe if I didn't go, maybe I could still have my child by now. Maybe, why did God take her young as she was? And, there are other people that will be seeing at camp meeting, struggling even to walk. But there she is, an energetic someone. You start asking yourself quite a number of questions, and you don't have an answer for the questions.
This brings me to the question about your concept about God. This happened at camp meeting, and now how do you think about God? This is a very difficult question to ask, but at that time, how did you think, how did you feel about God? I don't know who is taking the question.
Yeah, the only thing that came to my mind was we've got some support structures, even from the Bible itself. You look at Job's situation, it actually strengthened me to say the Lord gave and He has taken. And now, even around the church, you would find people giving you the support. We had pastors that would actually spend their time to come and counsel us. because really it was not easy. But the truth of the matter is we got enough support from the church itself, and above all, the Word of God. It reminds me of this verse that I'll always remember, 2 Corinthians 4, verse 8, which talks about we are perplexed on both sides, but the Lord will always be with us. We are destroyed, but the Lord is still with us, you know. So that actually gave me strength to actually move on and realize that there is nothing that we could have done. Yes, yeah.
So there are moments when you are reminded about the loss. So how do you deal with those losses?
It's not easy, you know, because the moment you are reminded, it seems like the wound is still fresh. Sometimes you feel like there's this song that we sing, the group that we sing with, which is called The Storms of Life. You know, at the time when we lost our child, it is the time that I think we're starting to, the song was introduced. And the words, you know, they rhyme. You think about your loss, then you go back to the song. There was a time when we were staging at another church in Ntumbane there. I couldn't stand. You know, after the first stanza, I walked out from the stage because I couldn't stand it. It was like this song was sang for me, not for anyone else.
So it becomes, so even the song becomes a loss reminder.
Yes.
And God must be having a way of carrying you through those difficult times. So maybe there could be someone that's going through this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe failing. You quoted a verse, but maybe that person is not able to do that kind of a thing, to say we are perplexed on every side. What words of comfort would you give those people?
Okay, what I can say is healing is a process. It takes time for one to heal, and you should allow it. You shouldn't rush and try to be strong in front of people. You should at least have time to mourn. That will help you. You know, when you lost a child, especially when you are a woman, it's like something has been taken out from your stomach. You feel empty, as if your body is moving, but there is nothing in your stomach. But what I can say is I was helped by a certain church member who gave me a book, Surviving the Loss of a Loved One. I could read the book over and over again. Even now, I can still refer to the book for other things.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This has been the show. Thank you for sharing your story. And it is encouraging that you can talk about such a painful loss. For me, the Munyakas and the crew behind the scenes, it's a wrap.